Here's another video of this tree because I didn't get to finish it last time. I didn't have the pot that I wanted for it. I wanted to do a crescent-shaped pot to echo this sort of a crescent-shaped flow that it has to it. Well, I'm not finding the pots that I want right now, so I'm gonna put it in something just a little different for the rest of the year and keep this fancy little pot for something else. It's a pretty nice color. Interesting glaze effect. I haven't really liked it for this tree though. It's not quite soft enough for me. So I'm going to see about doing my broken pot with it. So this pot was already frost damaged, so it's no big loss. It's nearly identical in size to this other pot. So it's going to be just taken out of one, put in the other. I'll have just a little bit of extra space to fill with soil after I've tied it in, and then I'm done with that. It'll just have an interesting little moss cut out in the front here. Right here we'll have a little moss area to grow, which will be a little cool, a little different. It'll draw the eye more in that direction, so that's kind of what I was going for, and I'll be done. Alright, so it's time to just place this into this other pot. Like I talked about, this is going to be a little moss cut out. I have plenty of moss growing around, and this pot has plenty of moss in it. It'll just fill in that. I'm going to use typical bonsai soil for this. Have some already made up. I will be wiring in the tree to this pot, and not much to it, but I'll do a decent shot of what it looks afterwards. So for wiring in, I just use a real thin wire. And what this does is, if the pot happens to tip or move for any reason, the tree's going to be nice and secured in there. Also, what this will do is, because it keeps it secure in there, I'm not going to worry about it breaking off any of the fine feeder roots that are going to be all through this pot. You'll see when I remove this that there's most likely a lot of feeder roots in there. This is not the ideal time of the year to do root work on deciduous trees like this. And so really what I'm doing is I'm not chopping any roots off at all. I'm going to take it out of there, it'll fit nice and neatly in here, and I'll just kind of smash it into place. Easy peasy. I've already cut the old tie-in from that side. Looks like I have another couple to cut off there. So these guys. And then let's see what it looks like. So that's just got rained really hard on last night. And this pot does have a few drain holes, but as you can see, it's sopping wet with water in here. So this will allow the water to drain off just a little bit better, which is better for the health of the tree. And it's a lot of water in there, right? Got to figure out where these wires are coming out of and remove that. It's actually really fortunate that I'm getting into this right now, because that could lead to root rot with all of that extra water in there. There's not really any smell, so that's good. A foul odor will mean that there's rotting material in here, and this doesn't have that right now, so I think I'm good to go. Let's see how this fits. Yeah, really it's just a matter of cramming it in there, and I'm going to fill in this little space here. I'm actually going to try to push this back a little bit so it has a slant into that. I'm not cutting any roots right now. All I'm really doing is just kind of tapping some of the soil off. That's a little bit closer. And you know what, if I do lose a couple of these little feeder roots, that's going to be alright. It's going to be fine. It's got plenty of feeder roots. I've transplanted maples into the ground in the summertime. And for the Pacific Northwest, our summertime is kind of like springtime most other places. Every now and then we get really hot weather. Okay, so I'm just checking from the top to see how the flow is. This is where your eye is going to be drawn to. There's going to be a large green mass of moss here, and the flow of the tree goes that same direction. Now, I usually don't like to have things that have a front, but on this tree, this is definitely a front. In this pot, I'll be able to angle it a little bit more because you won't be able to see that pot quite so much there, so that'll give you a couple of different angles for it. But still it'll have a main front. Okay, tie this in. Now these wires may even be removed partway through the year. So I don't want to pinch any roots too bad there. So I can actually feed this through some of these roots. Kind of poke through with the chopstick. It makes a gap for this wire to go through. I want to be pretty discreet with my wire placement. And also showing the wires. So I'm just going to tuck this in. I'll make sure there's a little moss over that. I'm not really paying close attention to the moss on most of this. This is all just how the moss wants to grow during the year. I tear up some of the moss from my older bonsais when I'm repotting. I just tear it up and place it on there during repotting season to keep the soil where the new roots are coming out nice and moist, and it just fills the entire surface. So really what I wind up doing is removing moss as opposed to trying to find moss. It's one of those Pacific Northwest problems. It appears to be a little bit wobbly right now, but it's going to be okay because it will sit in here, the roots will expand, and they'll just keep it into place a little bit better. I have this little bit of moss left over for the front. I might also relocate some of this moss. It'll look patchy for a month or something, but it'll be grand. Now I'm just kind of pushing it all into place as much as possible, and then I'm going to take it out and water it. Okay, places like this where I'm really able to push down a lot in here, I'm going to add a little more soil into that area. Okay, now that void is taken up. You don't want any air gaps in here because, well, for one thing, the bugs are already in there quite a bit, and the bugs will love to live in those little air gaps. And also that's a little bit too much air for the roots. The roots appreciate air spaces where they can have a combination of oxygen and water, but they don't like being out in the open. So this moss is kind of flopping around right now, but it will attach itself really well in about a month's time around here. So, bam. That's it. Pretty easy. Like I said, it just changes that up a little bit. Instead of having a pot in the front, you're actually seeing more of a sort of a hill sort of a feel. I also do like the glaze on this pot. It is unfortunate that it's broken. It's not a fancy pot, but for this tree it looks pretty cool. Yeah, time to go watering in. Well, if you liked the video, please do share it with your friends. I'll have a lot more work on bonsai throughout the years if I'm doing well. I've been doing this for a little while, still feel like a beginner. One of the great things about bonsai is you can always learn something new. So that's what I continue to do every day, and I hope you do too. Enjoy.